Right, second week. Yes, the two trades we took this week were on AUD. None of them were correlated to the previous trades I took last week. But anyhow, yes, this is the original schematic we used to place this trade. So breakout. Though this candle happened in the same time that NZSD happened. But I only entered one because I'm not in a good mental state and I'm on a losing streak, so I'm going to be I tend to be more conservative when I'm not on my game. But anyhow, you have to move forward. So I only placed the one on NZSD instead of both. Instead of risking 1.5%, I raised 0.75, which was pretty smart because this one there was no even chance to close it at half. Yeah, so after that it broke back out again, and first candle, second candle, third candle closed very strong bullish potential, and yeah, I didn't even think it's on trigger, but it did. It triggered, was just stalling at normally when this kind of thing happens, it goes in my direction, but well, you never know what will happen next. So just place your trade, follow your trading plan, and as far as the plan is working, which you have to find out, you'll be fine. At least I'll be fine. Yeah, all right. So this was really this was my CTC, my condition to cut. If it closed beyond this candle, this line, I'll leave the trade. And first candle almost stopped me out, but didn't close beyond CTC. Next candle still feels close beyond CTC. This is a 4-8 count. This is like 4 hours. This is like from Monday morning to like Tuesday night before I was like actually stopped, and it never really closed beyond my CTC. So it didn't close beyond at all this point. Then here closed beyond CTC, but by this candle, like when it came to the green here, I reduced my SL to some extent. So I left here with after I closed here, it didn't stop me out, but I was not really, the trade had been going on too long. I was kind of very lax and careless with it, so I was not really on time. So as it closed, I came around closed around 11. I closed around 11 a.m. and I came there and checked my phone around 12:30 or so. So by that point I already stopped. Lost around 0.6. So yeah, so well, next schematic, the range that was on NZUSD. The reason why I didn't enter NZUSD because the range for NZUSD is a lot more smaller in size. Like this is the same thing that happened on AUD, but this one is it's just about 50-60 pips, and that's too small to form a schematic. The size is just too small of a range for any meaningful levels to form. But anyhow, this one was really respectable, and it respected its levels at least. 100 pips, really reasonable, very reasonable. At least there's a chance that my up thrust can give me reasonable returns. But this failed, and this schematic formed after this retest here. Yeah, so form schematic, breakout, boom. First breakout candle, next candle, third candle, very strong selling pressure indicated by here, and we're also in an uptrend. It's hit its high, it's coming down, and so selling pressure is very strong. I was expecting it to really at least get here or get to this level, which is the level on the daily candle. Yeah, that was my exit plan at least, but triggered. Next candle didn't stop us, didn't close beyond CTC. Next candle closed on the CTC, and with this candlestick build up, it closed on. If it closed beyond my CTC, I would have closed the trade, but it didn't. It closed on it, I think with 0.5 pips. It was very small, very it just closed directly on the line. And at these kind of situations, I don't know what to do. What I use is the build up towards the close, and the build up itself is showing indecision, that the sellers and buyers are, absorption is going on around here. And in this kind of situation, I'm not supposed to be in a trade. I don't bet. It's when the move has been made. It's already significantly in one direction. The winners, the sellers are already dominant in the market. In that kind of situation, that's when I just enter. Getting late, leave early. At least that's the plan. At least that's the plan, and it didn't work quite well because at this point, the sellers have failed to continue their follow through back down to the bottom of the trend channel. But it's a gamble. It's more like I'm in a losing streak and I want a profit, and they close on my candle, and like in this the market situation was just showing indecision. Nobody has won yet. So what I did was that I bet on the fact that the sellers win. But I didn't break any rules because I was already in the trade by the time the indecision arrived. So that's the rationalization I used to allow the trade to happen. I don't think it's wrong. Personally, I don't think it's wrong. And I understand that the fact that I'm in a losing streak is, at least I'm not breaking rules. What I'm doing is letting the chance for a profit to occur without breaking rules. I'm managing myself. I'm not in the best state of mind that I know. So I'm very cautious with my plays. So if I let this happen and I left the trade at this close and it went in my direction, I'd have felt worse than if I let this thing get stopped here, because the profit means more right now than obeying the CTC. So that was just the rationalization I used to stay in the trade. Just was not the best, but it was rational. But well, do what you have to do. And another thing I made a mistake about is when this broke back into the schematic, first candle, second candle, third candle, I should have known that there was an upturn opportunity here, but loss, 3 losses on ZNGSD, terrible performance last 2 months of 2022. It was Friday. I'm not in the mood. At this point, I was done. After this loss, this one around 147, around myself. It was 3 a.m. So after the loss, it's Friday. I'm not expecting plays on Friday, so I wasn't really vigilant. I wasn't looking at the candle closes. If I had looked at the candle closes and looked at the schematic, I would have seen an upturn opportunity. Even if I have more or less the charts, like arrangements, like where the market price, where the last candle closes, like I have the picture of the chart more or less in my head, so I know, okay, every candle close, I just update it. So it's more like, if I'm not looking at the candle close, I don't know what the chart looks like, even in my mind. But the problem with looking at the chart in your mind is that your biases influence your analysis. Like, I'm not seeing an upward opportunity. I'm seeing a loss I made on the previous trade. So because I'm seeing a loss, I'm not seeing this possible entry here. And because of that, I missed it. Coupled with the fact that it was a Friday, and most of the time, I don't like taking trades over the weekend, so I'm very reluctant to even place trades on Friday. But we should have entered this trade. Would have entered right here at the boundary, or at least at the high of this candle. 25 peso, or 30. Where's the upside? The upside is very reasonable. Very reasonable. 1-3 RR. It should have been a good trade. It would have been a good trade, but honestly, I can't blame myself too much because of the various factors of Friday. I don't want to carry it over the weekend. I just had a loss on the currency. It was not just ideal, but I should have been paying attention to it. But we will be paying attention to it next week. Looking for a breakout or a breakdown or a possible extra spring. I don't know what will happen, but I'll keep my eyes on currency. And EJ, I have no clue what's happening on the Japanese yen. Okay, I was watching it, and 1 to 3, like the same size as the schematic. It has already made it. Where am I even going to put the TP if it's not? I don't even want to know what to say, honestly. I have no clue. Anywho, this was a trade I was about to enter last week, but it didn't trigger. So I think about 3 pips to trigger. It didn't, and it went straight to TP. This is what my trades more or less look like. Breakout candle, first one failed, first breakout candle, second candle, third candle stopped. As I enter after the third candle, which I call the qualifying candle, you break out, back out, So it's more like the line is really what makes a breakout opportunity an uptrust opportunity, things like that. So break back out. Okay, now we're looking for a buy opportunity again. Next candle, third candle, solid, good sign. And I entered at the high of this candle here. What? I didn't. Fuck. I entered a bit below the line. Just okay, a bit below the line, so that's why we didn't get stopped. I think it hit the line, sure, but we didn't get triggered. Well, it's done. It's done. Done is done. 3 pips to this entry. We didn't enter a trade on ADSD. We didn't enter a trade because it was a Friday. We are conservative, so we are trying our best to not even enter a trade. My brain is just finding very, very funny excuses. But anyhow, that's all. Forward zone direction. Oh, my dashboard. Looking terrible. My first one has fixed this stuff. It was very flimsy before. But anyhow, I paid reset. This is the first account refresh. I'm already 3% down for the month. If I fall below 4%, I'll have my risk, because I'll have to find out whether my strategy is having issues. Sharp pressure level. Fuck. Anyhow, that's all. Sayonara.